Hello children, today we will discuss about the mechanism of respiration in human beings. What is the mechanism of respiration in human beings? This diagram belongs to the respiration in human beings. In our previous classes, we have studied about the breathing. What is breathing? Tell me, what is breathing? What is breathing? So breathing is the process of inhalation plus exhalation. Inhalation and exhalation together, it is called as breathing. Nothing but, so what is breathing? The process of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide is called as breathing. So inhalation and exhalation together, it is called as breathing. What are the important organs of respiratory system? In our respiration, some organs are playing main role in the respiration process. What are the important organs? Lungs. Lungs are the very important organs in our respiratory system. Lungs are made up of spongy tissue. Lungs are made up of spongy tissue. How many lungs do we have? We have two lungs. We have two lungs. See here, if you see the respiratory system diagram, so this is the right lung and this is the left lung. Right lung and left lung. If you see the size of the left lung, it is slightly smaller than the right lung. Right lung is big when you compare to the left lung. Why the left lung is smaller? So left lung is smaller than the right lung. Smaller than right lung. So left lung is smaller than the right lung. So what is the reason? Here in our chest cavity, if you observe the chest slightly towards the left side, heart is present. So this is the heart. To give the space for heart, this left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung. So that is the reason for the left lung, it is present in slightly smaller than the right lung. If you observe the structure of lungs, these lungs are covered by two membranes. So two membranes are covering the lungs. So these two membranes are called as pleura. The membranes which are covering the lungs are called as pleura. How many membranes are covering the lungs? Two membranes. Two membranes are covering the lungs. These are the membranes covering the lungs. So these are the membranes which are covering the lungs. So this lung is also covered by two membranes. So these are the two membranes covering the lungs. In between these two membranes, a liquid is present. Fluid is present in between these two membranes. So here also in between these two membranes, a fluid is present. So fluid. What is the use of this fluid? So fluid is present in between these two membranes. What is the use of this fluid? So this fluid will protect the lungs from the injuries. So this is about the lungs. So lungs are made up of spongy tissue and we have two lungs. It is present in right side and it is present in left side. Right lung and left lung. So left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung. Why? So because due to the presence of heart, to give the space for the heart, this left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung. Next, lungs are covered by two membranes. So these two membranes together called as pleura. Next, in between the membranes, in between the pleural membranes, liquid is present. The liquid or fluid which is present in between the membranes, that will protect the lungs from the injuries. Can you see your lungs directly? We cannot see our lungs directly with our eyes. So because they are present inside the chest cavity, but we can feel the work of the lungs. We can feel the action of the lungs. How? Just keep your hand on the chest. Now breathe in deeper. Then what happens? Chest size increases. Then after that breathe out. Then chest size decreases. So here chest cavity or the size of the chest will be increases and decreases. So this is due to the presence of lungs. So this is the power of lungs. So when the air enters into the lungs, then lung size increases. When the air is going out of the lungs, then lung size decreases. But here we have to observe one thing, that lungs themselves cannot increase and decrease their sizes. Some structures are helping to the lungs to increase and decrease the sizes. What are the structures helping to the lungs to increase and decrease the sizes? So here two structures are there. What are they? Chest muscles, chest wall muscles, and second one, diaphragm. Here chest wall muscles and diaphragm helping to the lungs to increase and decrease the sizes. So due to the presence of these two things, due to the presence of chest wall muscles and diaphragm, then only what happen, air is entering into the lungs and air is going out of the lungs. What are chest wall muscles? What are chest wall muscles? Already you know our chest is made up of muscles. That muscles are called as chest wall muscles. Next, what about diaphragm? What is diaphragm? See here, see the diagram. So these are the lungs, two lungs we have. So below the lungs, a flexible, flattened, flexible muscle is present. So flexible muscle is present below the lungs. So like this. So a flexible muscle is present below the two lungs. So that muscle is called as a diaphragm. So diaphragm is a flexible, flattened muscle. Flexible flattened muscle present below the lungs, and that is called as a diaphragm. What is the importance of diaphragm? So diaphragm plays a main role in respiration of human beings. So here diaphragm is separating the two cavities. So here in the stomach part, what do we have? Abdominal cavity is there. In the chest, empty place is there. That is called chest cavity or thoracic cavity. The empty place which is present in the chest is called thoracic cavity or chest cavity. The empty place in the part of the stomach is called as abdominal cavity. So this abdominal cavity and chest cavity, two are separated by a flexible muscle, and that is called as a diaphragm. So diaphragm can contract, diaphragm can relax. This chest wall muscles are present in the chest part. Chest, see here, chest wall contain the chest wall muscles. Not only that, chest wall is made up of skin plus muscles and bones. They are called as ribs. See here, chest wall is made up of skin, muscles, ribs. Chest wall contains the skin, muscles and ribs. What are the ribs? The bones which are present in the chest part, they are called as ribs. See here, see the diagram. So these bones are called ribs. So these ribs are attaching to the spinal cord or spine. Spine means what? Spinal cord. So here backside spinal cord will be there. To the spinal cord, these all ribs will be attached with a certain angle. So with a certain angle, these ribs attach to the spine. So when you keep the finger on the ribs near to the spine and go front, then you are moving down. So that is the nature of the ribs, how the ribs are present in our chest wall. What are the changes takes place during inhalation and exhalation? So that we have to study. So during inhalation, first we have to study the changes during inhalation. Inhalation is also called as inspiration. Inhalation is also called as inspiration. Inhalation. See, what are the changes takes place during inspiration or inhalation? What is inspiration? The process of taking air into the body is called inspiration or inhalation. So what type of changes are taking place in the respiratory system during inhalation? See here, during inhalation, diaphragm, what happens to the diaphragm? During inhalation or inspiration, diaphragm contracts. Diaphragm contracts. See here, so this is the diaphragm. So this diaphragm is present in dome shape. This is the dome shape of the diaphragm. The dome shape means like this. So this is the dome shape. Then afterwards, diaphragm can also convert into the flat. So this dome shape pull to or push it downward, moves to downward, and it become flat. So when it is moving down, it become flat. See here, diaphragm contracts at the time of inhalation or inspiration. Then what happen when diaphragm contracts? Diaphragm become flat. Diaphragm becomes flat. So here diaphragm is present in dome shape. So at the time of inspiration, what happened? Diaphragm move down. So move down. When it is moved down, it converts into the flat. So when it is converts into the flat, then what happened? Whatever the space is there inside the chest, that is called the chest cavity. Then volume of the chest cavity will be increases. When the diaphragm moving down, it get the flat, or it is converting into the flat. It is flattened. When the diaphragm is flattened, then chest cavity size will be increases. Volume of the chest cavity will be increases. Next point, volume of the chest cavity increases. Next point, volume of the chest cavity increases. As the diaphragm moving down and it is becoming flat, then volume of the chest cavity increases. What about the air pressure? So air already present inside the chest cavity. So air pressure will be decreases. When the chest cavity increases, air pressure will be decreases. Next, third one, internal air pressure. Internal air pressure decreases. See, chest cavity size and air pressure opposite to each other. When chest cavity volume increases, then air pressure will be automatically decreases. When air pressure will be decreases, what happen? In the chest cavity, air pressure is low. Automatically outside the body, air pressure is high. So now according to diffusion, air will move from high concentration area to the low concentration area. Immediately air will rushes into the lungs through the nostrils. That process is called as inspiration. What is inspiration? Air is entering into the lungs. So because here low pressure area created and outside high pressure will be there, now air is moving from outside to the inside, means into the lungs air is entering. So that process is called inspiration or inhalation. When the air enters into our body, our chest wall move up. Chest wall move up. Chest wall moves up. So these are the changes happening during the inspiration. So here during inspiration, what happened? Diaphragm contracts. Contracts means it becomes flat. Then chest volume of the chest cavity increases and pressure of the air will be decreases. Then so that air will be rushes into the lungs. That process is called inspiration. Then chest wall muscles or chest wall moves up. So these are the changes happening in the inspiration. Next, what about expiration? So during expiration is also called as exhalation. What is exhalation or what is expiration? What is expiration or what is exhalation? Both are same. So the process of giving out carbon dioxide is called expiration or exhalation. The process of expelling the air from the lungs is called as expiration or exhalation. What are the changes taking place during the expiration or exhalation? Now let us see. So these are the changes quietly opposite to the changes which occurs during the inspiration. First point, here diaphragm contracts. Here diaphragm relaxes. See here, diaphragm relaxes, here diaphragm contracts. When diaphragm relaxes, then what happen? It will get the what? Which shape? Dome shape. So it will get the dome shape. Next, what happen? Second one, volume of the chest cavity here increases. Here volume of the chest cavity decreases. Volume of the chest cavity here increases, here decreases. Next, third one, here internal air pressure decreases. Here opposite, internal air pressure decreases, here increases. Next, fourth one, chest wall moves up. Here chest wall moves down. Chest wall moves down. See here, during expiration, what happens? I will tell you. During expiration or exhalation, this diaphragm gets the dome shape. Before that it was flat. So at the time of expiration, it converts into dome shape. So this diaphragm moved up. Then what happened? It got the dome shape. So here, when it is getting the dome shape, then what happened? The volume of the chest cavity will be decreases. Then what happened? Air pressure will be increases. Pressure of the air, internal air pressure will be increases. When the air pressure will be increases, then what happened? Whatever the air present in the lungs, so that will be squeezes out. The air will be going out through the nostrils. That process is called as expiration or exhalation. So here, let us study about the differences between expiration and inspiration. What are the differences between inspiration and expiration? See here, first point, during inspiration, diaphragm contracts and becomes flat. During expiration, diaphragm relaxes and get the dome shape. What is the first point? During inspiration, diaphragm contracts and become flat, and during expiration, diaphragm relaxes and get the dome shape. Next, second point, during inspiration, volume of the chest cavity increases. Next, during expiration, volume of the chest cavity will be decreases. Next, third point, during inspiration, internal air pressure decreases, but during expiration, internal air pressure will be increases. Next, during inspiration, fourth point, chest wall moves up, but during expiration, chest wall moves down. So these are the four differences between inspiration and expiration. When we are at rest, what happens? When we are at rest, what about the breathing? When we are in rest position? So when we are at rest, breathing will be slow and shallow. When we are at rest, our breathing will be slow and shallow. But when we do the exercise, at that time, so breathing will be faster. And deeper. See here, when we are at rest, our breathing, so we will perform the breathing very slow and shallow. But when we do the exercise or after the hard exercise, then what happen? Our breathing become faster and deeper. Why? What is the reason? So because when we are doing the exercise, our body needs more oxygen gas to get the more oxygen gas, so our breathing will become faster and deeper. But in rest position we need only some amount of oxygen, so that's why our breathing will be slow and shallow. But in case of exercise, so breathing will be faster and deeper, so because we need more oxygen. Here some nerves are connected with our respiratory system, so that we are performing the breathing. So if we cut the nerves which go to the brain, so which are linked with the brain, so then what happen, our breathing will be stops. So that means, so breathing is under the control of central nervous system.